What cheer, y'all? Welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, we're going to continue on with the 100-point Derby preps this weekend. We've got three of them. And we'll start with the Wood Memorial. It's a Grade 1, 12th race on the card at Aqueduct, running a mile and an eighth for the three-year-olds. And do take a look at that configuration. It is very similar to Gulfstream. They do encounter a turn pretty quickly. So, obviously, as we always say, the horses who do want to be up near the pace are going to be a little bit of a disadvantage if they have an outside post. Look at this field, and certainly with Rodriguez coming in from California, this makes for a very interesting race. He's been basically the work partner for Barnes and Citizen Bull. Everybody, he's been off the pace in those races, and I think it's without question that Rodriguez will be the pace in this race now that he's free of his stable partners. Captain Cook, the winner of the Withers, going to see what he can do with a little more pace that he has to deal with. He basically won a paceless race last time, so we'll see what happens there. Tiger 24 for Bill Mott. We've got Sand Devil for Linda Rice, who finished second in the Gotham. Hill Road for Chad Brown, who was third in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last year, making his second start off a pretty decent third in the Tampa Bay Derby. Certainly needed a race, without a doubt. Grande for Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli. Can't have a Derby prep without them in New York. Passion Rules for Brad Cox. McAfee for Dick Dutrow, who's kind of interesting. And Statesman, another really interesting horse for Shug McGahee coming up from Tampa. And then the closer, Omaha fresh off his effort in the Virginia Derby at one turn. Now you look at this field, and there's a lot of speed here. I think it's pretty certain that Sand Devil will be in earnest up near the lead. Rodriguez is going to get the lead. I don't think there's any doubt about that. He's on the rail. They're going to send him. That's what he's here for. He has been rating in his two stakes races after that impressive maiden win. I really liked the Bob Lewis. I was very impressed with his circling tactics, but he was running off the pace, and he did so in the San Felipe as well. And if you watch that race, you will see they had a pretty snug hold on him on the backstretch, as if to say, you're not passing Barnes in this race. May have frustrated him a little bit. It's pretty clear that this horse wants the lead, and that's where he's going to do his most damage. So I'll expect him on the front. The thing is in this race, though, Sand Devil, or I should say Rodriguez pedigree-wise, he does have a little bit of stamina underneath, not a lot. He is half to one-liner who won the Southwest Stakes a few years back, but it's not necessarily two turns or longer distances are necessarily what this one wants. And I'll tell you something I noticed watching him that I really was keen on with Cornucopian, and obviously I didn't pay attention to my own judgment in the Arkansas Derby, but Cornucopian had really short strides, and which tends to mean that you don't necessarily want a horse like that in a longer race. Rodriguez, kind of the same thing to a degree, but I think he certainly has the talent to potentially wire this field. But the problem is Sand Devil's going to be right on his throat latch. And Sand Devil is another one with really short strides. Notice that in the Gotham. Sand Devil has some distance pedigree as well. He is a half to Can You Dig It, who was won a lot of stakes races at 9 furlongs. So there's the pedigree there, but the running style says to the contrary. And so I don't like Sand Devil in this spot. I think it's going to be a pace factor. Bear Claw Necklace, pretty much the same thing. Their role is to pace Rodriguez. And so we're really going to see what he's made of, because he's not going to have it easy on the front end. Now, Captain Cook is a real quandary to me, and I'll be honest, I really almost threw him out of this race. And the reason being is that Withers, there was no pace in that race at all. It was all late runners. He rated just off the leader until it was time to take control, and he just walked home. Markedly different scenario here. I don't see how this pace isn't going to be quick. And you couple that with the fact that Captain Cook really doesn't have much stamina in his pedigree at all, on the sire side or the dam side. So I think it's a really tall order. Well, we're going to see how good he is. I mean, he may be outrunning his pedigree. He seemed to have plenty in the tank to finish in the Withers. But I just wonder, it just seems to me like this is a situation that that's probably going to compromise him to a degree. Dick Dutrow is a great trainer, and we'll see. The fact that he did wait with Captain Cook, didn't run him in the Gotham, I think that's encouraging for sure. But there's a lot of things that tell me this isn't the one, and I think you're going to get a really short price on him. Tiger 24, I just didn't like what I saw, and he doesn't really have distance pedigree. It is Bill Mott. It's hard to overlook them, but I just didn't see enough from Tiger 24 to get interested. He'll be a pace factor. My Matoli, I went back and forth with. He is coming in third off the layoff, and I didn't think he ran that badly in the Gotham. And he did get his second career high Brisnet number, so he is moving in the right direction. But I wasn't enthused about that Gotham as far as being a key race here. So I could kind of see if you want to use him, maybe getting underneath, but that would be the extent of it. Now, Grande has the pedigree to run all day, so we're not going to worry about the distance here. But look at that last race he ran in. The two horses he finished second, third, Jimmy's Dailies and Indecisiveness, didn't run very much at all in the Florida Derby. So he really didn't beat very much here. He looks like he's got some talent. I mean, he won the race, and he did so pretty impressively, I guess. But it's not a precursor to me, something that you hang your hat on to say Grande's going to win this race. So I think because of his pedigree that he can finish in the money here, but I don't see him getting on top in this one. Passion Rules for Brad Cox. He's 3 for 3. He hasn't beat very much either, and I really didn't. The fractions for that last race weren't encouraging, and you couple that because his late fraction in his last race was pretty light, even though it looks good on visually that he closed. But notice 2 other races he broke slowly, and it took him quite a while to get going. And you couple that with not a lot of distance pedigree for him, and I'm just not going to use him. I mean, he's going to take a lot of money because he's Brad Cox as well. Now, we come to the heart of the horses, I think, that you would have to think with this race shape, with a pace that's going to be pretty quick, a closer is going to have the right type of scenario. Now, which one do you want? McAfee is an interesting horse, mainly because he's a half to Torpedo Anna, so that right there, you don't worry about the distance terribly much. I didn't think he ran too bad off the bench in his last one, probably needed a race. But what bothered me was a little bit that he started to make a move, and he looked like he was really rolling, and then he just flattened right out. Now, that may be the product of him needing a race, but I'm kind of wondering about the class with this one to a degree. I did go back and watch his last 2 races prior. His maiden, he won, he had pace to run to, and he closed very well. So maybe there's some talent here. And again, Dick Dutrow, I would never underestimate. And this, if he is a little more forwardly placed than, say, Statesman or Hill Road or even Omaha, then maybe if he takes a move forward, which he could, he's got an outside chance to win this, but I think he needs to get faster, and that's really the thing that troubles me about him. Now, Statesman is very interesting to me. First of all, he's from the 1X female family. That's La Troyenne, one of the greatest broodmares of all time. He's just got stellar distance pedigree underneath, one Ren de course after another. So, I mean, he's bred to do this. Now, his last race, he didn't beat a whole lot, but it was the way he did it. he had to come from the clouds. And honestly, in the stretch, he looked beaten. And once he got it rolling, he just flew by them 6 wide. And it was a pretty impressive effort. Again, didn't beat much, but I think it's a really good sign that Shug McGaughey, he put him in this race. We know Shug, he takes his time with horses, and this may be just one of these. We're going to find out how good he is. I don't know, but if you consider he's going to have pace to run to, and if he can take a move forward, likely going to get a decent price. I think Statesman makes a lot of sense here, and he's got an outside shot too, because when the cavalry comes charging late in the stretch, it's going to be who gets the trip. So if he gets it, he's got a chance. I think it's a pretty good sign that Samuel Marin, his regular jockey, made the trip up from Tampa. I don't know what kind of jockey he is, but I mean, just the fact that Shug is looking for continuity with this one, I think there's a lot of things to like about Statesman. Hill Road is pretty obvious, and he's my pick to win this. We're basing it on certainly what he did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, without a doubt. He's bred for this race all day. I didn't think he ran bad at Tampa coming off the bench. He certainly probably needed a race. Chad Brown is very good with second time with the team at 25%. And frankly, I've always thought this is a better prospect for the Derby than Chance and McPatrick. He's going to have pace to run to. He's demonstrated that he can put a big one together, and he needs this race to get in the Derby. So I think there's a lot of things working in Hill Road's favor, and so I'm going to put him on top. So we look at our wagering strategy. Now, Hill Road, I think, is going to be a pretty short price, given Chad Brown, Breeders' Cup Juvenile, all that. So we're going to bet Statesman for the value to win. We're going to go 6-11, 6-10, and 6-2 for our exactas. And then for the trifecta, we're going to go 6-11, 6-11 with 1, 2, 7, and 10. Then 6-11 with 1, 2, 7, and 10 with 6-11. There's a lot of ways to go in this race. There really is. Whenever you have the type of pace scenario that I think we're going to have, then that's what happens. I mean, it's going to be who gets the trip. I think that's what it's going to come down to. And but I think based upon potential more than anything else, pedigree, the scenario, I think Hill Road is the horse to beat. I think Rodriguez, based upon his talent, probably can hang around. He might even be able to get in for second, but I think it's going to be awful tough with some horses that are really intent on pushing him. And he's not going to get away easy. I really don't see that. And so, for the reasons stated, we're going to go with Hill Road in the Wood Memorial. Hope this analysis helps you with your own wagering strategy. Wish you the best of luck as always. And of course, if you do like content like this, please like and subscribe. And again, thanks so much. We've had a real boon with subscribers and really appreciate it. Love this community where it continues to grow. And keep those comments coming. You guys are fantastic. I'm loving it. I've heard a lot of good stuff from you guys, and I've also heard that some of you have benefited from my full card selections, which I really appreciate as well. We had a great weekend at Gulfstream. Hopefully we can continue that streak this weekend. So, a lot of content coming this week. We've already got our Kentucky Derby top 20 out, as well as analyses of the Florida and Arkansas Derbies. We will have an individual posting on the Gazelle, which is an Oaks Prep at Aqueduct. We will also have obviously the Bluegrass Stakes, as well as the Santa Anita Derby, and the concomitant Oaks Preps at those two tracks. So full card selections, and we'll probably have a sequence from Keeneland. So there's a lot coming, so stay tuned right here for that. Well, that's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.